Hey everyone, this is Callaway back with another video. We're going to review today on the Clock issue 2 from Image. It's written by Matt Hawkins. Picks up from issue number 1. It's a mini series and it's about scientist, researcher. It's a cancer pandemic that's plaguing the world, that's killing millions and millions of people around the world. But it's a rare form of cancer that they don't know what it is yet. And the scientist, his wife died of lung cancer, so he's doing research, traveling around the world to figure out why certain nations and certain races of people are immune to it and why some aren't. In the previous issue, he went to Africa and realised that the people in Africa are immune to the disease, and why aren't they getting it when the rest of the world is getting it really bad and dying from it. And in the first issue, he buried his wife, and they looked around the cemetery, and there was lots of funerals happening at the cemetery. There's a lot of people dying from the cancer. So it picks up from there, and he's at the government at the Senate committee, and he's presenting his findings on this cancer and stuff. And as he leaves, he gets knocked down by somebody, and they leave him this note. And the note says, "Your wife was murdered," and then it's got a number underneath it, which is a reference to the lung cancer that she died from. So now he's a bit twisted and inside out. He's not sure what's going on, so he goes to the police to say, "I've just got this note. My wife died of cancer, but now I've got this." And you can see here the your wife was murdered, and the number underneath it is the genetic code, or however he said it, for the, what's this number mean? He says it's a genetic marker for the lung cancer that she had. So the police ring the doctor, the specialist that treated his wife, and he says, she died of lung cancer. So the police keep the letter. There's not much they can do. Everyone knows she died of lung cancer. So then he goes back to the doctor to talk to him about it and say about the note, and he wants to add his wife's case study to his research about this cancer. And the doctor's pretty much, why do you want to do that? And he says, because she's my wife, I want to. Just send me the lab results. It's just give me the sample. And he says, okay, I'll send it over. And then we see the doctor here is on the phone after the husband left, and he's like, we have a problem. So straight away you can see there's a conspiracy happening, and the doctor's involved. That's all we know so far. And the scientist's father, he's moved back in with him to help him look after his daughter. Look after his granddaughter. While they're grieving over his wife's death and stuff. And I like this. This was a nice page. This one. He goes to tuck his daughter in, and his daughter's all upset about, misses her mummy, and did mummy do something to make God mad? And no, honey, she was a good person. God had nothing to do with it. So he tucks her back in the bed, and he comes out, and he's bawling his eyes out, and he ends up just taking off and going for a run. And he's stopped, and he's crouched over on the ground, and he's crying. And this car nearly runs him over. When I read this, I thought, oh, here we go, someone's trying to kill him, because they think he knows something. And it turns out it's just a woman that he knows that nearly ran him over. And she says, I heard about your wife. And then we get this page. This is a nice page. By the looks, he's laying on the bed or on the couch or something, and he's just remembering all the different he's got the photos around him of his wife, and he's just a memory page. I thought that was really nice. So he's back at his lab, and he's working with his partner about the what caused this cancer, what is it, what form of cancer, what's causing it, what is it not. And he says things it's not: heavy metal toxicity, diet, or caloric intake. And then we get this. It looks like a sniper. Someone's got him in a sniper scope, or just in a camera or something. Sort of can't show too many pages. Then we got these. They look like they're either feds or they're someone in suits. So they're obviously either feds or corrupt officers, or maybe businessmen, and it might turn into a big conspiracy. And then he's with his daughter, and his daughter wants to go to see his mother, and there he is here. So him and his daughter at the grave, and we got this guy who was in the car, and they're listening in to him. Somehow they're listening, and they're crying, and then all of a sudden his daughter, he gets a phone call from his partner at the lab, and he's where are we? Sorry. And he says, some of the recent unaffected areas we visited have reported cases now. I've got the data. So in that one, sorry, I think I might have cut off the page. So some of the recent unaffected areas we visited have reported cases now. I've got the data. So there he's referring to, in the first issue, they went to Africa into this refugee camp, and all the Africans there were immune to the disease, whereas every country around the world this cancer was killing everybody, but this one nation, the citizens of the nation weren't affected. And so then he says, oh, there's something, and then his partner says, and he says, sorry, the samples don't match. They're from different people. They're referring to his wife's samples that the doctor was meant to send over. And he says, what, are you sure? And he says, I ran it twice. And then he says, lab error maybe? And he says, maybe, but I checked the chain of custody of the sample and called over there to confirm. They were almost insistent, almost annoyed that I would even question them. So he's like, there's something hinky going on. So he's starting to realise that maybe the doctor and that there's something bigger going on with this cancer. And then his daughter suddenly falls ill while they're standing there. And then that's how it ends. And then this is the cover for the next issue. Rest in peace, the human race. I haven't read much of Matt Hawkins' work. I've read a couple of his postal books. I don't follow him on Twitter, so I'm not sure if he's nice to fans and all that sort of stuff. But the books that I have read of Matt Hawkins, I do enjoy. The first two books is quite intriguing, cancer being weaponized and it's killing people. So it'd be interesting to see where this conspiracy grows to. So now that the industry is sort of on hold now, we've got to wait. But I'm not sure if number 3 is out yet. I don't think it was. I think this issue is only a month old. So I'll have a look online and see if the issue 3 has already been released digitally, and I'll read it that way and do a review. But if it hasn't, we'll have to wait until the industry comes back and if the series keeps going. But in the first 2 issues, it's been actually quite interesting. Twists and turns and sort of not knowing what's happening. But then in this issue, it really set home that there's a conspiracy and something's going on. So, and if you're like myself, as much as I love Marvel and DC and love the big 2 and the superheroes and stuff, I do really like indie stuff, whether it's stuff like this or I'm into the crime books and crime noir and stuff like that. So if you are into indie books and want something different other than superheroes and capes, this is a good book. I know a few people I've seen reviews didn't really like it, but I liked where the first 2 issues go, and I look forward to reading where issue 3 and so on, where this book takes us. So if you want to check it out, guys, I recommend it. It's a good read, very interesting plot, and that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and please like and subscribe to the channel, share the videos. We've just started, we're just sort of getting some videos happening now, and want to grow the channel. So thanks everyone for the support. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks, guys.